Hey gang, welcome to Module 1. I am not going to do this every week, but I do want to let you know that as you look at the first mod, you're going to be like, oh wow, this is way too much. Yes, this is a big mod. There's a lot to learn in this first lesson, and because there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to do. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a briefing on why there's more reading, why it looks like there are more cases to brief. First, don't freak out. It's not going to be this much stuff all the time, but we've got a lot to cover in this one. And in this one, there's a really important mix of history with current events, current cases. If you follow the news at all, you may have heard lately of a FISA warrant or a FISA court. We can't talk about FISA warrants without some context. We need to know what happened with the the Patriot Act. This was a law that was enacted after 9/11 that basically lets the government spy on us. There's a lot more to it. It's a lot more nuanced. That was like the paraphrased part of a sentence version of it. We can't talk about the Patriot Act without going back about 30 years to the Pentagon Papers. You're going to learn a lot about the Pentagon Papers in a short documentary that is within the mod, as well as when you brief New York Times versus U.S. That is the case that specifically dealt with the Pentagon Papers. And we can't even talk about the Pentagon Papers without going back about 200 more years to the Alien and Sedition Acts, which were enacted during the John Adams administration, if you can believe that. So that's a lot of stuff to check out. We also can't talk about flag burning without getting to some of the ideas of, why would the courts of this country make it legal and okay to burn the flag? Well, the reason is it's in the theory of John Stuart Mill, who basically says, hey, say it all. The good speech will rise to the top, while the bad speech will stay below. Let him burn it. Okay, so, and here's the thing. We can't even get to all that stuff without talking about how our courts are structured. You'll read through the first chapter of how the U.S. legal system is actually constructed. What actually happens when a lawsuit is filed? Where does it go from just being filed? We have local courts, state courts, circuit courts, and if you get all the way past the circuit court, you're at the Supreme Court, which only takes a small amount of cases each year. That first chapter will really give you an idea of what is going on within our court system, how it works, what happens, and also just to get you a little bit familiar with what's going on. In the left-hand margin of the pages on the left and the right-hand margin of the pages on the right of this book, you will see key terms and definitions. Those are important. You do not have to memorize every single case that is within the text. You'd go crazy. There's no way you can do that. However, the cases that I do have you brief, I want you to know. Those are going to be things you're going to need to know for your midterm and your final. Finally, you've got the reading, which is a lot this mod. You've got a couple things to watch, which should take you all in all about 3 hours. The John Oliver's hilarious, but it is important. You'll watch Citizen4, the Academy Award-winning documentary about Edward Snowden, and you'll watch The Most Dangerous Man in America, which is about Daniel Ellsberg and how he got the New York Times to publish the Pentagon Papers. You will do the briefings. I believe that there are 9 or 10 cases to brief. Typically, we're going to have more like 5 to 7, but for this mod, that is a lot. And that will take you a little bit of time to do the research on all of these papers. The question that I'm asking, there will be one question per week that you need to answer by Thursday evening and have discussed with your classmates on the message boards by Sunday. I hate going through and being like, oh, so-and-so said this, give them a point. That's not how I do it. I just read through at the end of the week and make sure that you're getting the good ideas out of this, that you're engaged in a real discussion, not just like, oh, hey, John, Great point. Come on, that's not thoughtful. So definitely do have some good thoughts about what you're actually trying to say. You do that, you're going to be really successful in this class. There is the midterm, and that will be over the first half, and the final, which will be over the second half, but there will be some points that come from that first half as well. So if you have any questions of me, I hope you'll ask. Ask on the message board, via email, however you need to get a hold of me. I'm around this summer, just get a hold of me. And if you are in the area, we will plan to have some coffees and discuss what's going on. I don't want to make this a like an every other day thing, but maybe once a week we can do that. Like I said, I live near campus. I'm around most of the summer. We can talk. All right, with that, get reading, get watching, get writing. Can't wait to see what you have. Thanks so much.